Morning, everybody. Good morning, yay! Welcome to London's Calling. How is everyone today? Come on, this is interactive audience time. Come on. I'm a very lucky girl that I had two Salesforce legends warm this room up for me. So come on, keep the vibe going here. Yes, exactly. My name is Amanda, and I am from TES, and I'm here today to talk to you about this. How to navigate your way through the build phase without losing your mind. So I'm going to start off with something that's been very prevalent for me last year in my social circles, and this was this whole mindfulness. There's a lot of stuff that was coming through on my Facebook and co about all this, and I want to start off with this. So what is mindfulness? Well, mindfulness is the ability to focus on a task while still being very, very conscious of what else is around you in the environment and also around you in people's emotions. And so, as part of mindfulness, I wanted to start you off and start thinking about all of this. So let's just think about that. And so for this, if you want to, you can close your eyes or maybe bow your head, or just stare at me blankly. That's fine. Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to start off. Imagine that you've been put onto a project. The requirements have been captured, and the requirements have been signed off. Your client is engaged. The resource that you need and the skill base that they have is available to you. The budget is also there and exactly what you need. And the time, that's fine. You have everything. You are ready. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Welcome back. Unfortunately, in reality, this does not happen ever. The chances are it's going to be completely different. The chances are you won't have a clue what your customer wants because they don't know. They have no idea about the requirements. They're not going to sign off anything. Then there is the option that your client may not be very engaged. They have a day job, and you know what? They need to get on with that too. And then, of course, there's your own team that's going to scupper you because they might not be able to give you the resource that you need, and they might not be able to have the time and the budget. Well, they just disappear into nowhere. And so reality is very, very different. You know, it's enough to lose your mind, really. So, you know, that's quite hard. Now, some of you who know me may be aware that occasionally I might swear. So today I feel it is only fair, being a bit of a family show, that I give you a warning, and here it is. Oh yes, here it comes. Are you ready? Brace yourself. Here it comes. Change. You all have filthy minds. We knew. So why is it when somebody mentions this word change that people freak out? What is it that does it against people? It's the emotional responses that come through that people just cannot handle. So let's actually look at this a little bit more depth. And there used to be a hair care advert that would talk about the science bit. So let's talk about the social science bit for a moment. And here it is. It was Elizabeth Kubler-Ross back in 1969 who came up with this, which is the change curve. Now, if any of you are into this whole social piece, you will realize that this is incredibly similar to that of the grief curve as well. You go through very similar emotions. So let me give you an example of what the emotions do when you go through this cycle. Now, let's imagine that I happen to be a person who is in sales. And this is a little story that happens to them. And it might be reasonably similar to some of the projects that you might have been on, so you might be able to understand this. So apparently there's this system coming on board, and I've got to use it. What on earth? Shock. It can't be right. I can't believe that they're going to be doing this. Apparently we're going to be having it live in 4 months. I mean, that never happens, yeah? No. Denial. So apparently I have got to be using this system every day, and I've got to plug in everything, apparently all about my customers and all the deals I'm doing. Well, when am I going to have a time to do my own day job, for heaven's sake? I mean, what's wrong with the spreadsheet we've got now? Frustration. And then it gets deeper. Right, so they're telling me that this is absolutely going to come now. I'm definitely going to be having to do this, and it's going to be part of my life. So this sounds pretty damn rubbish. You know what? If this is actually going to happen, Sodom, I quit my job. I'm just not going to have that at all. Bloody slave force. Fortunately, eventually they come out of this. Some of them do. And we move into better stages. Okay, so I'm hearing now that I can figure out who my customers are, and I'll know actually who might want to sell to and get deals done quicker. And I'm going to know how much money I'm going to be getting on commissions, because frankly, that's a pain right now. We're always arguing about it every month. So maybe it'll be okay. Maybe, yeah. Moving all the way through to the integration and adoption stages, when that person turns around and they go, you are looking at salesperson of the month, ka-ching. I totally beat Greg from the Northern Territory this month, and he cannot deny it because it's all on that pretty little dashboard. Oh yeah. So they move through this cycle, and this is all fine for an individual because you can kind of figure out how they're going. But then imagine all of these different cycles going on for a whole different company, a whole company you're moving forward. You've got people 1 minute might be really happy and easy and be able to get through the shock and denial and depression and actually get onto the idea of working with this and moving on to new stuff. Whereas you've got some people who will sit there through the anger and frustration phases for a really long time. Frankly, it's enough to drive you mad, because you've got to get them through this. So how do you do this without losing your own mind? Well, that's why I'm here today. And today I'm going to talk to you about a little toolkit that you can take away with you. And it's called this, the 4 C's, keeping it simple. I'm going to start you off with the first one, communication. Communication is a really, really important thing. And the first and the biggest part you've got to sort out is nailing your executive sponsor. This person is absolutely critical. If they are not on board with what you're trying to achieve and they are not giving the key messages out all the time, then you're in trouble. You need that person in that senior responsibility to be able to turn around all the time and just going, this is what we're doing it, this is why we're doing it, and this is how we're doing it. And they are the ones who are really going to help you. Now, when you've got that in place, you can then start using other communication tools. Now, whether that is using focus groups for show and tells and eliciting feedback and making sure that you're on track with this, or you can use their own internal communication feedback tools, whether that be mood boards, email addresses, emails, and even if they've got an implementation already, using Chatter. Use the things that are available to you. Keep talking. The next C on the list is control. You know, I come from a project management background, I can't help it. So here it is. And the first part of project management, the traditional part, is these 3 elements here, this triangle, which is, scope, what you're delivering, time, and also budget. Now, things I have learnt with this is generally your executive sponsor can be reasonably chilled out on these aspects. They give you the wiggle room you need in order that you can actually deliver something. So that's okay. You can be a little bit calmer about these. But the one thing you must keep your eye on throughout the whole of this is this, the goal. Now, in project speak, that can be called the business case. But if you take your eye off of this, it doesn't matter what money you saved or what time you saved or what scope you shaved off, you're not delivering. So ultimately, you've got to know what is your success criteria for this project. If you don't get that, you'll never nail it. So always keep your mind on this. So here comes the third part. Core. So what do I mean by core? When you're delivering a business system, it isn't just about the technology. It's also about the change of human behavior, because that's what it really does. And so when it comes to changing behavior, think about what are they doing now and think about what they might be doing in the future. And map it out, because it'll help you then define what you're going to do to help with adoption and training and know exactly what you're going to build as well. So process maps and documentation and figuring out stuff, super important. Then there's the actual technology side of things as well. Now, the beauty of using a system like Salesforce is that you can do an awful lot nowadays by using click configuration. You don't have to resort to code. It means that in future iterations, you can just keep building and building and building and keep everyone a little bit happier because they're still getting something they want. So stay true to the core. And the last one, stay with me on this, the theory of cake. Now, please do not get this one confused with cake theory. That's actually to do with Chinese economics. This is the theory, and that's real, by the way. This is the theory of cake. Let me explain about cake. Now, if you're someone who likes cake and also you're prepared to share said cake, then you might cut it up into slices. Here we go. And those slices might be quite even. However, there's always that one person who turns around and goes, "That's lovely, but can I just have a little piece?" Believe me, that's not me. Okay. So you might then cut that cake differently, so you have different slices and different sizes, and some people can then choose which side they want because some will have more icing than the other. Is anyone starting to get hungry now? Yeah, okay. I have no cake, I'm sorry. Alternatively, you can cut cake slightly differently. You can put it linear, so you can then, more cake pictures, yeah. You can add more fillings to it, so you can tailor your cake to how you want it, to how it tastes for you. So why am I showing you a lot of cake and getting you hungry? You're probably wondering, and how on earth does this relate to projects and delivering things? Well, it's as simple as this. When you started off with this cake, you thought you were going to be cutting it in a certain way. However, when you come towards projects and you have to deal with other human beings who also have their own thoughts and how they want things to be delivered, they're called stakeholders, then you also have to think about what they want. And so sometimes you might have to cut that cake differently in order to accommodate. But essentially what is happening, you are still delivering something. Everybody gets cake. Now, I must confess that some cake did get harmed in the making of this presentation. So let's recap on this. The 4 C's. Communication, control, core, and cake. And let's actually rethink again what those elements were. So, we started off with mindfulness. What was the point of that? It's to be able to focus on a task and be able to be conscious of other things that are going on around you. We talked about change and how change actually can affect everybody. And this is massively important because when it comes to change, everyone goes through their own individual journeys. And you are also part of that journey. You go on that journey too with them. What's very important that you do not go deep enough down into the anger and the depression phase like they do. You are the ones that are going to have to bring them through this. You are the ones who might have to have a one-on-one session to them and go, "I promise you, it's going to get better. I promise you, it will be a better place. Are you with me?" And hopefully they are going to see through this, and hopefully they're going to come through this and get into and get and understand what you see, and that it will become a better solution in the future. And to help you do that, use the 4 C's. Communication is massively important. You must ensure you have the executive sponsor on your side. And as soon as you've got that, then use all the tools available to you so that you can communicate and keep with those messages and tell them what's coming. Get them on side. Get them happy. Remember control. Control is useful and it helps you to direct a project through, but don't worry too much. As long as you remember the goal, what are you going to achieve, and make sure the success is there. When it comes to core, stay true to functionality. Keep it as simple as possible. Just avoid the complexities and be confident in the solution that you are providing. And everybody remember cake. Now, physical cake is a wonderful thing. It keeps everyone happy, and believe me, our team is powered by cake in my place. But also, remember what it symbolizes. It reminds you that you can cut it in very different ways. You can still keep delivering. Everybody gets cake. So I want to end off with this. I actually think that change isn't a swear word. I actually think that change can be incredibly powerful as long as you are prepared to work through it and you are prepared to go through the pain and get through to the other side. There's massive benefits. In you use a system like Salesforce, it's something that's incredibly powerful as a tool, and you can achieve so much with it. And actually, from that, you should come out in a happier place. Thank you.